Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Now.
This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation and have your say on motorsport-radio.com. Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome to the Superbike Show here on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester, and well, it's fantastic to have you tuned in for what will be, I'm sure, a wonderful night of talking about bikes. We've got breaking news in BSB. And also, we've got all the hottest, latest, biggest rumours from MotoGP and Moto2 and Moto3. We'll catch up with all the latest from the World Superbike Championship as well. And plus, we've also got, hopefully on the line at some point this evening, he's already at Snetterton, the replacement, the newly announced replacement rider for Shane Byrne. It's brother of Glenn Irwin. It's Andrew Irwin. He'll be on the show a bit later on, and he'll be, I suppose, taking your questions if you've got any good ones. If you think maybe you do have any good questions, he will be talking to us, or talking to Kiko rather, a little later in the show. And, of course, we'll be taking your comments and questions. Any good things that you've got for us, any witty banter or smart remarks, then add them into the comments box below. My name is Lester. Thank you very much for tuning in. And Kiko Giles is with us once again, as ever, to talk about bikes and alike. Kiko, good evening.
Good evening. Is it good to be back Thursday night? Regular slot now, 8 o'clock. Going to be a great show coming up. We've got some news from MotoGP, we've got some news from World Superbikes, got some speculation from both of those championships, and we've got a big British Superbike preview as well coming from Snetterton 300 this weekend. And if you haven't got your tickets already, get gone down there. It's going to be brilliant weather, great action, one of the best tracks on the calendar. A little bit flat, but always provides great racing. We'll get
circuit
predictions.
Is flat, not the racing.
Yes, of course. The circuit is flat, but the racing is pretty spectacular. And, of course, we're going to get some predictions later on in the show. Try and get some predictions of our special guest when he comes on as well. Andrew Irwin, of course, newly announced at Hallbird Motorsport Ducati for at least the Snetterton 300 round. See where that goes.
Indeed, yeah, we'll look to get him on at some point in the next half hour. I understand he is or was recently walking around the track, assessing his chances, I suppose, at the very flat track for some up and down action this weekend. Yeah, so it started. So yeah, get in touch with us this evening, because we are very much live, and we want to know what you have to say about various points of order and various things, including tonight's big debate that we're opening up onto the world, I suppose. Question is, what corners in MotoGP would you name after which rider and why?
Not so much a debate, more chip in if you can, because of course, and this is a little bit of a nugget of news that we can bring to you. Turn 11 at the Sachsenring has been renamed after Ralf Waldmann, so the German rider who lost his life earlier on this season, away from the track. Must add that bit on. So I guess it'll be called Waldmann's Turn or Waldmann's Corner. So what corners would you choose to name a rider after, and why? I know which one I'd choose, and it's quite relevant to this weekend.
Is it?
It is.
Well, since we're talking about it, you might as well tell us.
No. We'll come to it later on in the show. Bit of a teaser. A
bit of a teaser, indeed. So if you've got any particular rider in mind for any particular corner in mind on the calendar in MotoGP, does it have to be on the current calendar, or could it be from a classic track or could it be?
We'll go with current calendar, but you can have a World Superbike rider at a World Superbike track as well.
Okay,
or a British Superbike rider at a British Superbike circuit, excluding Assen.
Okay. I'm guessing that a lot of people are either going to choose their favourite rider who's sadly no longer with us, or their favourite rider who happens to be their hero
It can be a former rider, but just on a current track.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it can. So, for example, you could name Turn 1 at Knockhill Mackenzie's after Neil Mackenzie, if you wanted to.
Perhaps.
And good evening to you, Neil, if you're watching.
Hello. Yes, good evening and welcome to everybody as well, not just in the UK who is tuned in live, but we've got quite a massive fan base around the world, it's fair to say.
Indonesia, Malaysia.
At least a couple of people do tune in outside of the country. So
they don't understand what we're on about.
something bikes, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, welcome to you if you are tuned in and you're not based here in the UK. You're more than welcome. Do give us a share as well. Tell all your bike friends about us. So, right then, shall we crack on with the first bit of tonight's big news, I suppose, then, Kiko, and straight over to MotoGP and what's been happening?
Well, the rumour that we reported last week and the week before and the week before that and the week before that about Andrea Iannone going to Aprilia has finally become fact, and he has gone to Aprilia. There is no doubt about it, he will be number one rider, I'm fairly sure on that. But Andrea Iannone then has made the move over to Aprilia. Now that has confirmed all of the factory seats now. There are no more factory seats available in the factory teams. You might get a factory bike, go into an independent team at some point, a bit like Danilo Petrucci at Pramac this year. But that is the news. That's the big one. So Andrea Iannone leaves Suzuki anyway. We knew that, and goes to Aprilia. And I have a feeling that may just be what Aprilia need, but we'll come on to that in a bit more detail soon. Joan Mir, who we also reported was a more or less done deal at Suzuki, is a done deal at Suzuki. He will be there next year and the year after. 2-year plan. Suzuki did this with Maverick Vinales, took him straight out of Moto2 after a year in it. The year after he won the Moto3 Championship, Joan Mir is the exact same. He will have had a Moto3 Championship, a year in Moto2, and straight into MotoGP with Suzuki. And if you look where Maverick Vinales is now, okay, maybe not now, but in the team he's with, it ain't a bad structure, that. And they've also done it with Alex Rins. He's been given a contract extension at Suzuki. Mm-hmm. We're going to be looking and seeing about Danny Pedrosa in the coming weeks, but we can tell you now, he's going to be staying, it looks like. He says he's got offers and options to stay in MotoGP.
Yeah, every rider says that, though.
So they're playing a trump card, I think. But Danny Pedrosa, everyone expected his announcement to retire at 3:15 British time this afternoon. Wasn't the case. He said, sorry for all the hype. So Danny Pedrosa looks certain to stay in motorcycle racing somewhere. My guess would be World Superbike, MotoGP, World Championship level MotoGP, maybe World Superbikes if it comes to it. And as we've already mentioned, the Saxon Ring will have a new corner with a new name. Turn 11, the fast right-hander after a series of lefts. I think it's 7 left-handers on the bounce before they flick it right, cold side of the tyre, catches so many people out. It's been renamed Valdman's Corner after the late, great Ralph Valdman. Most successful rider in number of wins to not actually win the championship, any championship in MotoGP. That's a statistic no one wants, but Valdman currently has.
Just going back to something else that you mentioned as well, Iannone and the Aprilia. Interesting bit of a nugget of information that came out earlier today. That Scott Redding says that he found out he would no longer be retained by Aprilia for next year on social media. He didn't even get the
wonder if
courtesy
it was
of
ours. Do you reckon it was our breaking news that caught him unawares?
Did we tag him in it? Did you tag him in it?
I don't think so. Motorsport Radio has announced that Scott Redding is out of a job and in the job centre for 2019.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But who knows?
Could have been.
Yeah,
I don't know. But
strange one, that.
It's a bloody harsh way to find out that you've been dumped, though,
listen,
isn't it?
We've seen this so many times. Aprilia's PR people need sacking. They are horrendous. In MotoGP.
Just say it. Just say what you really think, Kiko. Just
in MotoGP, that is because year on year, we have a disaster as far as PR is concerned. The first year, they were okay. In 2016, they did not handle the Alvaro Bautista, Stefan Bradl departures at all professionally. That the rumour was allowed to run wild and wild, and yes, okay, that's going to happen. Rumours are going to fly around, but Romano Albeziano, I believe he's team manager or team coordinator on the Aprilia side of things, not on the Gresini side of things, said, "But we want our riders to be doing better. They're not good enough." that was the message he was sending out. And I can't believe that was allowed to go through the PR security of a MotoGP paddock. Last year, we had the woeful PR handling of the Sam Lowe's departure. And this year, looks like Scott Redding's only just found out via a tweet. I mean, it's not good, is it? I mean, no rider wants to find out like that. Let us know your thoughts at home.
Yeah, if you have any thoughts, that is, of course. Was it unjustified and cruel that maybe he already knew, maybe he just didn't need to be told officially?
Well, he put tweets out, I think it was an Instagram post out with him on the bike tucked in full chat down the Mugello Straight saying, at least it looks fast. So, obviously things not all well, I think is the diplomatic way of putting it there.
Some MotoGP teams just literally only good for a few Instagram pics. That's what he said.
Move. Aprilia's best result actually was a 8th place at Catalunya. This is the best result at Catalunya whilst we look ahead as well. 8th place with Alvaro Bautista. I think they were 10th that weekend with Stefan Bradl. They haven't had a better result since at that track. Does it not suggest something that maybe since those two have gone, the development of the machine has stopped, and that's why it's literally not scoring any points at the moment? It's a worrying time for Aprilia, let's be honest. But Andrea Iannone, I think we're going to come on to this question sooner rather than later. Is he what Aprilia need? I think he is. Because he is one of them riders, and we said it in last week's show, who will not care what he's on. It'll take him some races to get used to it, but he is going to give that Aprilia an absolute thrashing, and it's the only way that Aprilia are going to work out.
Well, he's not going to go there and go slow, is he? He's not.
No, and we know he's going to do that. Aleix Espargaro went to Aprilia originally last year, and he was okay. Lots of crashes though, and you've got to wonder maybe Andrea Iannone may start off like that. But I think if anyone is going to develop a bike, we know Andrea Iannone is a fantastic development rider. He's a fantastic racer. He may well be the one to give Aprilia their first top 5 if it hasn't happened by the end of the season. And let's be honest, doesn't look likely.
Interesting. Let us know your thoughts on that. Is Iannone what Aprilia need right now? Do you agree with Kiko? Let us know. We want to know your thoughts on this, especially, by the way, if you disagree with Kiko as well. So just checking that we are online, aren't we? There we go. Coming through loud and clear. No, that's okay.
I have my notifications on mute, but my phone doesn't no longer actually take the media down on the side, so I had to turn down. Yeah. Stuart Everard.
Have we got some comments?
We have Stuart Everard and Andrea Everard. So the Everard household, hello to Hornsey. They're not going to be at Snetterton this weekend. A great loss at the moment. They're just having a weekend off, I believe.
Oh, right.
Work commitments. But they say, well, Stuart has said, "Ayup Kenkyo." And I said that in how I read that, just by the way. I haven't gone all...
Yeah, I can hear him. I can hear him now.
So Stuart Everard has put on, and he's put the emoji... it's an emoji of the person wearing glasses, because when I first met Stuart at Knockhill last year, I was unfortunate enough to have longer hair than I have today. I've had it cut this week for the show, and I had my glasses on, and he actually thought I looked rather like the Emoji Man, and it was nearly a year ago, so we're coming up to our year anniversary. Just so everyone knows, visually radio, just so everyone knows what I mean, I'll put the glasses on here, got me prop.
It's Ronnie Barker.
Thank you. And we'll take them off very quickly.
I didn't mean to shame you into taking them off. Sorry.
No, it's okay, Lester.
Are you self-conscious about them? I am sorry.
Not at all. Not at all. Before we move on to Moto 2, by the way, and World Superbikes and all that, we are going to mention been some news in MotoGP today since this plan was done, and that is the fact that wildcards will now have to wear airbags, which is astonishing, really, considering I would have thought they needed them anyway, because I don't think a wildcard's exempt from a serious accident. But no, that's the latest that's happened there. I can only imagine that's because of Michele Piro's horrendous crash through the front.
Because he could have died, obviously.
Literally, everyone thought the worst of at that time when he went down the road at good knows what speed, 200 miles an hour at San Donato, turn 1 at Mugello. And some news coming off that. Wildcards confirmed for Misano, Michele Pirro for Ducati, and Stefan Bradl for HRC.
So yeah, I didn't even know that that wild card thing where you didn't have to wear or have your airbag in for at least the first two, or a maximum of the first two rounds of the season. I didn't even know that was a thing, to be honest. I just thought a safety thing was for everybody all the time because it's safety.
It's like if you look, there was a rule brought in last year. I don't know if it was halfway through last year or it's starting at Catalonia. They introduced a rule where only MotoGP teams it's because of the Iannone incident, I believe, at Brno. It may have been just before that. Anyway, we had Skittles in pit lane. Iannone crashed in pit lane, changing his bike. And but before that, I think they brought in a rule to say that 4 members of the team have to wear a helmet when the MotoGP bikes come in. But to me, that just screams, what on earth? Because obviously a Moto2 bike being thrown at you is not going to hurt you at all. You know, you'd think it'd be a bit more uniform and across all classes, but obviously not. And I don't think it is yet either.
Well,
answers on a tweet.
I would say I would cautiously welcome sensible comments. Obviously, we don't want to get at all controversial. That's not what this show's about at all. Certainly not. Interesting handful of bits of news. Any other comments flooded in?
We have had Chris Howells has come on and said evening. Evening, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Is there a potential for a satellite Suzuki team, or is it just KTM, Yamaha, Ducati and Honda? Well, at the moment, one would have to think that it isn't even Yamaha. There has been no confirmation of a satellite Yamaha team. Suzuki were in that process of maybe running that satellite Mark VDS outfit. That still might be on. Mark VDS do hold the cards at the moment. That'll have to wait and see. We've got all the riders more or less confirmed in the big teams now, and we're just waiting on a few teams deciding on manufacturers. But at the moment, we've got satellite KTM, satellite Ducatis, satellite Hondas definitely confirmed for next year. We haven't got any satellite Yamahas confirmed. Neither have we got any satellite Aprilias or satellite Suzukis. Although, having said that, Aprilia are, or I think they're classed as an independent team. Yes, it is another manufacturer, but it's run by the Grassini team, which are privateers.
And any other big bits of news as well, just before we go over to our interview for this evening?
Yes, Moto2, Augusto Fernandez is coming in to replace Hector Barber, who had a drink driving episode last week. Looks like he's going to stay out of the paddock. There is a statement on Twitter from Hector himself, if you want to go and read it. There's some World Superbike news. Jonathan Rea will be staying with Kawasaki for another year, for another 2 seasons. We'll come on to whether that's a good thing or bad thing for World Superbikes overall later on. Leon Camier starting to look really strong again on the Honda. Great result at Brno, off a pretty decent result at Donington Park. British Superbike news, before we get our guest on, obviously Andrew Irwin's replacing for Shaky Burnham. We're going to ask him about that directly in a moment. Mission Racing have pulled out for the foreseeable future, which is very sad.
That's Ross Owen's team, isn't it?
Russell Owen's outfit, running out of Huddersfield in the glorious People's Republic of Yorkshire. So at the moment, no Mission Racing, which has left Fraser Rogers without a ride and Ben Godfrey, and I must give sincere condolences to and commiserations to Ben Godfrey. I've known him for about 3 or 4 years now. He is a hard-working lad, and he did not deserve to not have a ride at some point this season. It just shows that times are tough at the moment. Blades Racing have withdrawn from the Stock 1000 class until Brands Hatch, which is around 6 of the season. They run Harry Blades in that team. Both Honda riders are looking to be back this weekend, I believe. And Peter Hickman back to normal life now after the TT. And just whilst we're on about the TT, what a performance that was. 135.4 miles an hour from Peter Hickman.
Yeah.
So you are getting around 38 miles in that time on that track, or on them roads. Pretty impressive.
Yeah. is would be an understatement as well, and one man who is also no stranger, at least in the family anyway, to a bit of road racing, because we've had his brother on this show many times before, Glenn Irwin, and now in the BSB team, replacing, albeit perhaps temporarily, the champion Shane Byrne. Announced earlier this week, just a couple of days ago. Was it on Monday, I think, or Tuesday or something? But anyway, yeah, you may already know that Andrew Irwin as well joins his brother Glenn at the top of BSB, and he joins us right now via Skype. Hello, good evening, Andrew.
How's it going? How's things? Thanks for having me.
That's fine. No, thank you for coming on. And I mean, you're already at Snetterton, is that right? You're already sort of you've done all your prep work going into the practice and stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty much set up now. I flew over, I think 11 o'clock this morning, and then got to the track just before 3. So that's me. I'm ready to go. Come tomorrow morning. I think I've got everything organised, so it should be all guns blazing in the morning.
Great to hear, Andrew. Of course, I spoke to you at Donington Park, and this was not on your scheduling back then, that we were aware of anyway. First question, we'll talk about Supersport and your full-time stuff out there later on in the chat, but how are things with the BYZ Ducati? You had a run out at Knock Hill, I believe, earlier on in the week. How was that? How's your first thoughts?
Yeah, it's, coming to BYZ Ducati, it's what I believe the best bike and the best team in this bike, and to get an opportunity to ride it, be it with not the circumstances that any rider wants, with filling in for Shaky for this round, but it's it's something I've always wanted to do, to ride a factory bike. We all know how special the Ducati is, the Ducati brand, and there's no better way to learn to ride a superbike than the team I have around me at the BYZ Ducati team. So it's really good. I'm really looking forward to it. Knock Hill was good. It was the first few laps. I thought, oh, what have I got myself in for? But we got into it. I enjoyed it, and things went the right way. I definitely wasn't the fastest, but I didn't expect it to be either. So we'll just keep chipping away and see how things go.
What are your expectations coming into Snetterton? Of course, it's a track you're very familiar with. That's a massive positive. And also, surely having your brother in the team helps a lot as well. There's some it's not like you're going into something you don't know. So with all of those things considered, what would you consider yourself as a good result leaving Snetterton points?
It's really difficult to know. Because I haven't ridden against any of these riders, I don't know whereabouts I am whatsoever. Going from Knock Hill to here is night and day different. But I would like to get points. I know how hard the British Superbike Championship is. Points don't come easy, and it's if I'm in and around the points, I'd be really happy. But the main thing is to enjoy the weekend, make the most out of it, get used to riding a superbike, and we'll take it from there.
From what you've had so far, it's your first time on a British Superbike. How does it compare to the 600 Supersport that you was riding last year? Obviously, there's a massive difference, as we know, but from a rider's point of view, how does it feel riding the bike? What is there that you have to do slightly differently?
It's night and day different to riding what I did last year. You come into a corner in a 600, you're looking for the first apex, and the Superbike, you forget all about the first apex, and you make it to the next one because you just want to get the bike stood up on the fat part of the tire so much. But at Knock Hill, we took strides in the right direction with that. For sure, I need to work more in that direction to stop riding it so much like a 600. But it's something that takes time. I'm not going to learn how to ride a superbike in one day or in one race weekend. So it's just a stepping stone into hopefully full-time riding superbikes in the future.
World Supersport, we'll talk about that next. You're with the CIA Landlords Insurance Honda teams, run by Simon Buckmaster. Sum up your season so far. Difficult start, of course, with the injury. In the top 10 at Donington and just outside the points at Brno. So a little bit up and down, but there's progress.
Yeah, up until Brno, we made really good steps, I think. I was in the points in Assen and the points in Imola. It was a new track, quite hard to learn. And then in the top 10 at Donington, in Brno, we were actually quite fast. We had a pretty good pace, but I had a small crash in warm-up and with the hard front tyre, which was the tyre we were going to use for the race. And then the temperature for the race was 20 degrees warmer, and we went back to the soft tyre because I'd crashed with the hard tyre in warm-up because of the temperature difference. And it was just the wrong tyre choice, and we paid things, you know.
Are we there? Where have we gone here?
Oh, he's gone.
There. I annoyed him.
Tie-sided off the offline.
Front end folded.
Yeah.
We'll try and get him back on.
That is a shame, but
shortly.
Yeah.
Well, whilst we're doing our best to
just to prove it is live, folks.
Yes,
so,
yes. Whilst we're doing our best to reconnect ourselves with Snetterton and the earthquake that seemed to be happening at Snetterton, we'll talk a little bit about, or I'll talk a little bit about, because Leicester's going to try and reconnect, I believe. We'll talk a bit about British Superbikes coming up this weekend. We'll start at Stock 1000. New riders, Luke Jones has come across to the Morello Racing Kawasaki hosted.co.uk team. Number 82 joins up with number 36 Sam Clark. Now, that is a really interesting dynamic for me because I know the team really well, and I consider this to be their home round. Pressure is on, obviously, to deliver and whatnot, but they are really looking forward to it. Spoke to Steve Buckingham, the owner of the team, a couple of times, and they are mega hyped for this weekend coming up. They are really looking to deliver a solid result and to say, listen, Morello hasn't gone away in the first two rounds of the season. Another interesting point, it'll be interesting to see if Billy McConnell can continue leading the championship, as well as the Aprilias. Andy Reid set a fantastic lap time in the Snetterton test. He looks to me like he could be one of the men to be, as does Chrissy Rouse for Team IMR QuinsThePrinters.com. The Isle of Man based team looking really sharp this year, I must say. But looks like we've got Andrew Irwin back.
Yes.
No, you can blame that on Glenn. He rang me, and this is the first time I've used Skype, so it must be whenever he rings that everything ends.
You pressed the wrong button.
I done something wrong.
Glenn Irwin is the two previous occasions we've had Glenn on. He's actually gone off and wandered around somewhere. I'm sure we've lost connection to him on both times. So maybe it's just a family thing. Maybe we don't harmonious with the Irwins. I don't know. Anyway, you were saying you changed your tyre and everything in Supersport, and you crashed in the warm up. But as the season's looking to go on, obviously you guys don't go to Laguna Seca. You've got, I think, 3 more weeks after this weekend.
Yeah, it is 3 weeks from now until Misano. The same weekend as Knockhill. Yeah.
Are you looking forward to getting back at a track? But Misano's one of those where it throws up weird results, and it gives people the opportunity that maybe not have been there before to come forward, and we've seen it before. Federico Caricasulo came out of nowhere on a Honda at that track. Are you looking forward to Misano maybe to get back in the points?
Yeah, because Misano is a flat track, and generally the ones that are flat are the easier ones to learn. You know, like Imola has lots of undulation changes, and it's more difficult to learn, and I was in the points there, so Misano is somewhere that I think it'll suit the bike, it'll suit everything. So it would be it should be a better round for that part of the championship.
How is the Honda to ride? Because it is old, we know that. There isn't a new model coming out, but for whatever reason, as your teammates proved at Brno, Kyle Smith, as he proved, it is still a contender in the top 10. So how is it to ride as a machine for you?
It's really good. It's a lot better than what I thought, and I'm enjoying it. You know, that way it's different to what the Kawasaki was, but it's been really good.
Do you feel that the Honda's got plenty more room for development as the year goes on? Where would you see yourself at the end of the year in Losail saying that's been a good result?
I think it's going to get better, but you know, obviously the Honda is it's not a new bike, so the development is not as much as what the Yamaha is at the minute, I don't think, but it's an overall package. The bike is better than me. You know, you just have to look at my teammates ahead of me, so that proves that. So it does, but it's one of those things.
But before we come back to British Superbikes, there's a couple of questions coming for you. We'll get to them in a moment. I spoke to you about, obviously, Glenn's success at the Northwest 200, and I asked you then about whether you'd consider going for a chance at the Northwest 200, and you said you wouldn't rule it out in the future, but you wasn't very certain about doing it at all. What's your view on that? Do you see yourself doing any road racing at all?
No, I don't. Really, for the main reason being, I like road racing, but as soon as I wouldn't rule it out. Ruling it out is wrong, but at this time of my career, it's not in the initial future plans. You know, if I was to continue in World Supersport next year, you're focusing on that. The schedule doesn't work. If you're in British Superbike, it'll be my first year on a Superbike. It probably wouldn't, first full year on a Superbike, it wouldn't be ideal, I don't think. But, you know, you have to go with the right bike, the right team. It all depends on that. So, all in general, not looking to go the road racing route. So we'll come back to Britain then. We've got a question now from Carol Armstrong. Are you going to stay in World Supersport? Is that the plan? Yes, at the minute, I plan to continue in World Supersport.
And that's followed up by a question from Tony Shorthouse. Where do you see your future? In World Supersport, or do you think maybe a couple of years' time, if it hasn't worked out, back in Britain?
You know, World Championship is World Championship, and we all want to crack it there, but I want to be somewhere that is competitive, on a competitive bike and a competitive team. So, you know, I have that. This weekend I have a competitive bike, and next weekend the next time I ride World Supersport, I'll have a competitive bike as well. So it's very hard to know.
Tony Shorthouse has asked again, what's your emotions coming into this weekend? Because obviously, as you said right at the top of the interview, it's not the circumstances you want to be coming into this weekend for. Shaky's accident is...
I think he's gone again, actually.
Has he gone again?
Fell off line.
Oh, dear.
But maybe you just didn't like the question. I don't know.
So I think someone was winding him up as well. I kept seeing him look over the phone and
maybe we should ask him. Is Glenn knocking about? And I suspect he is.
So should we get a double of them on, because that would be a good feature. Well, whilst we try and reconnect with Snetterton again, I'll carry on about Superstock 1000. Chrissy Rouse is where I left off. Team IMR looking really good. I don't think it's going to be too long before a race win. And do you know what? It's not just Chrissy in that team. Jordan Gilbert, I don't think I can say enough to describe how good that kid is. He's jumped on a stock 1000 and he started doing the business more or less straight away. Top 10s. That shows not only a good team, but the quality of rider Jordan Gilbert is. And I think it's not going to be long before one of them wins and the other one's on the podium somewhere nearby, because I honestly feel that team's probably...
They've got the talent, for sure.
Really looking to, and it's caught us all off guard. We expected Chrissy to be up there, but we wasn't so sure about Jordan. But he has done a fantastic job this year. I'm going to talk a bit more as well. Josh Elliott, of course, who left Morello Racing about 3 weeks ago. We broke it here on Motorsport Radio. He's with the new OMG team, and Ray Stringer is mega excited to be working with him. I can tell you that. Press release went out the other day, and he's almost certain the team are going to get some quality results with Josh on board. So that is your Stock 1000 news and preview, kind of.
Be good to get Josh on, maybe, once he's settled in and, like you say, got a good few results under his belt. Get him on the show, maybe?
get him chatting about how that Suzuki feels, of course. That Suzuki is brand new, more or less. It's been out a year now, and it is looking like a bit of a weapon. If you look in super bikes, you've got Bradley Ray second. If you look in Super Stock 1000, you've got Billy McConnell leading the championship. If you look at the results last year, I think it had a race win and a podium in Britain. It had a 1-2 in Australia. It had a winner in New Zealand. It was a 1-2 in America. The Suzuki's all conquering. All it needs to do now is conquer the world stage, Lester.
Hey. I'm literally just trying to see if we can re-establish connections with Andrew Irwin. Doesn't look like it. The old Snetterton 4G, I guess, was. I think he did all right by being a cameraman and trying to answer your questions as well. I mean, I've definitely seen worse cameramen as well. But yeah, no, we can't re-establish contact with.
We have some breaking news. I've just looked at the comments. News. Carol Armstrong, Mansfield lass, I should add on to that. I don't know her personally, but all the greats live in Mansfield, including Taz Taylor, and that is the news that we've got to bring you.
Well, why is it?
My racing season, due to lack of funds, is over, and that is such a shame. So Taz Taylor saying, "Hi everyone, I wish I didn't have to sit here and write this, but unfortunately I am unable to continue my racing this season due to lack of funds. It breaks my heart to have to do this, and it isn't something that is easy for me. I just want to take the time to say a huge thank you to everybody that supported me and sponsored me. I wouldn't have made it this far without you, and I'm so grateful for you all. Also, a massive thank you to Fireplace Workhouse, the team that he's riding for taking me on this season, as well as my family and friends for all of your support." That is a very sad announcement, because that is another rider, and another top quality rider, dropping out of the British Superbike paddock. It's a shame.
For now. He will be back.
Now,
yes, he will be back, and maybe just like the previous couple of weeks happened. I mean, we've seen so many people changing teams and disappearing and coming and going since the last round. There hasn't been another race since then. There's been a lot of movement already, but
there's a lot of moving and shuffling. It's like a 52 card pickup. It's like everyone's chucked up in the air, and then it comes falling back down, and it all settles into a different place.
Yeah, so we know old Taz has the talent and the
bags of it. Yeah,
and just I suppose we'll keep an eye on him. I suppose
we will. We will.
There does seem to be an unfortunately high amount of top talent just sat on the sidelines right now.
It's a bit of a difficult difficult week for the Nottinghamshire lads. Ben Godfrey from Long Eaton, Taz Taylor, Mansfield Woodhouse. It's maybe they're eradicating us.
Well, I guess we should. I think we ended that interview a little early, but prematurely. Let's hope his race lasts longer than that interview, at least. Anyway,
yes, and let's hope the earthquake's gone by tomorrow at Snetterton.
Exactly, or it's got some good 4G, so we can put on Instagram just how well he did, for example. Right, so where was we up to? Have we done all the news and other stuff?
We've done the news, but I believe there is a question awaiting the audience.
There is a question awaiting the audience, and I probably should ask, first of all, on our big debate as well, just going back to that as well, because that's rumbling on, and we want to know your thoughts on it.
We do.
This evening. What, if any, corners in MotoGP, or probably World Superbikes, or anyone who you particularly like. We'll just say, what corners in racing would you name after which rider and why? Let us know your thoughts. So what corners in either MotoGP or World Superbikes would you name or rename for any particular rider, and why? What's the reason? If it's an unusual reason, we especially want to hear about it. No, it's got to be a proper reason, not just a silly, like I'd call this hairpin Dougal McBendy face, for example, just cause.
Just bring you in on this, Lester. You're an F1 kind of guy more than me, because I like proper motorsport. What Formula One corner in the world on the championship would you name after what driver and why? Let's put it in car terms for you.
That's a question I wasn't even expecting, because I'm going to give you a really crappy answer.
Not on the Superbike show plan, was it?
Exactly, yeah, no. Where we talk about proper motor racing and stuff.
Yeah. Go on. If you can think off the top of your head.
I'll expand it. I won't just say Formula One. I'll say any top flight, Grade A listed, top world-class circuit, because F1 and MotoGP seem to go to most of the same ones anyway.
Yep.
I would say probably... I would have something at Silverstone renamed after Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, okay.
And I would like someone in MotoGP, preferably a Brit, to be that Lewis Hamilton figure that Lewis Hamilton is in Formula One. I would like to see that. Maybe one of the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship riders in a few years. Maybe one of them. Maybe he or she will come to the fore.
Anything in between.
Will come to the fore and start to dominate, rise up to the top. Maybe it will even be Brad Ray one day.
Wow. Well, if I was to name a corner, just so everyone kind of knows what we're on about, I've got to say, there are some corners that scream out what... So for example, there's a big petition, I think, in the moment within the MotoGP.
Is it a Rossi? Is every corner going to be called Rossi?
No, it's not. And in fact, before I bring this news about this rider, the late great Nicky Hayden has a massive, great big statue up in Owensboro City. So great to see that he is remembered, and the sport really in America has not been the same since Nicky's passing. There is no one coming in to replace him. Jake Gagne's not quite there yet. Joe Roberts is getting there in Moto 2. We'll come on to that a bit later as well, actually. But no, I mean, there's a big conversation happening about that last left-hander at Valencia being called Nicky's corner or Hayden's corner. That's what we're looking for. What would you say? At home, listening in, or videoing, or visual streaming in.
Tuned in.
Okay, yeah, tuned in, of any variety. Okay. What corners would you choose and why? Let us know on Twitter at MotoGP Kiko, at M Sport Radio, or on the comment section on Facebook, of course, and share around as well.
Yeah, sharing is caring, and so it's also spamming as well.
If I was to give my name of a corner, though, the last corner at Catalunya for me would have to be called Valentino's. Because that move that he pulled in, first of all, in 2007 and in 2009 on the last lap against Jorge Lorenzo, getting his 99th win against the number 99, that is still the best last lap I've ever seen. Ever. Phenomenal.
Well, do you have any thoughts on that? Do you have an alternative opinion? Let us know at M Sport Radio on Twitter. Hello, everybody tuned in on Twitter, because that's where we stream as well. Hello if you're tuned in on Facebook as well, and hello if you're listening the old-fashioned way via audio /podcast as well. That'll be interesting. Lorenzo said, "I approached Honda." By the way, just
very interesting. That I did scan my eyes over that little nugget of info. He had to. I really think he had to. Lorenzo was really running short. He was in kind of no man's land. You know,
I'm surprised he admitted it, to be honest, because usually what people do is that the usual line. Yeah, well, I've got loads of options, loads of people lining up to talk to me, and of course I'm going to find a seat. But you don't. The image I've got of him now is him scrambling around, desperate, looking for a ride,
on his knees, praying, begging, grovelling.
So that's probably why riders don't usually say that they approached teams. It's usually because, of course, you look a lot more cooler if you just let or have the impression that other teams come to you. But yeah, that was just a.
Yeah, Lorenzo's like that though. He's quite an honest person. He doesn't hold back if he's needs to get someone off his chest. I think either way. I think it was kind of. Maybe I think there's a bit of a hidden speculation about. No one's really spoken about has Lorenzo approached them? Have Honda approached him? Yeah. We know it was a thing about 6 years ago whether he'd go there or not.
Well, maybe he came out and said that I approached Honda line to counteract other rumours to say, well, you were desperate basically, and Honda obviously, you throw you a lifeline sort of thing, and he might have said it, and I don't know, I didn't hear him say it, so I don't know his tone of voice, I don't know his attitude, and that sort of thing, which you can read a lot into. Thank you. But he might have said, well, no, actually, I approached them, sort of thing, rather than, do you know what I mean? So he might have tried to...
But then again, I'd argue to you, I'm not... in general, riders approach teams. It happens.
Well, yeah, of course
riders
it does.
Approach teams approach riders, and it's not. I don't think it's much of a story that Lorenzo approached them.
Well, it's not. It's just currently the main headline on the MotoGP website. But it is a Thursday, I suppose.
Slow news.
Exactly. That's happened. Also, other bits of tidbits of
bite size.
Bite size. What did I say? Did I say something?
Tidbits.
Okay, maybe not. Whatever.
Bite size. Tidbits. Sounds like a sweet, or sounds like a children's book.
Anyway, question for everyone, I suppose, including Kiko. Is Jonathan Rea?
Yes.
Staying with Kawasaki and staying in World Superbikes, is it going to be damaging for World Superbikes overall?
It's hard to say. It really is. There's two sides to this. No, it's not, because Neil Hodgson went on this season streak thing where he just kept winning. I think it was only James Tozen beat him in the first 10 races. One race, and Tozen actually beat him up a bit in the race as well. It was at Oschersleben, race 1, 2003. But this is a Johnny Rea domination now that has happened for the 4 years he's been at Kawasaki. And I think just people are getting a bit bored. But instead, I look at it, and I don't think it's him who's damaging the sport. I just think the way the weekends are organised and stuff, that's another conversation. But it's almost like we're choosing not to celebrate his achievements and success.
That's not true. No,
because when Marquez dominated in MotoGP in 2014, everyone was full of praise for him. All the Rossi, because this was before they had the fallout, all the Rossi fans were admiring him and everything. But they're not doing that in World Superbikes. And Johnny Rea has been in that series for a long time. But instead of saying, he's making it boring, just admire the class. That you are witnessing history trackside if you're there. And if you're watching it on Eurosport, you're witnessing history as well. 60 race wins now for Jonathan Rea. That is impressive. He's actually staying until 2020. That means he could get to 100 by the end of the time his next contract's up.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive stuff.
And who's to say that just because he is staying,
he's going to win anyway.
For now, anyway. Yeah, exactly. So just because he is staying,
exactly.
I'm hesitant to keep making the F1 analogies, but for example, look at Lewis Hamilton. For the past few seasons, he has effectively been the Jonathan Rea of Formula One. He's dominated everything. He's won everything. Not every single round, but at the end of the season, he's been there picking up the trophies and the championships until this year, when he's just now lost the lead of the world title.
After a fifth in Canada. And
you get the feeling that this year certainly is different in World Superbikes.
It is, and we're going to come on to that later, actually, about whether Yamaha are back. Are Yamaha actually back? Who knows?
Are they? I didn't know they'd gone.
See. Hey. Are they back at the top? Are they back in business, so to speak? Because we said they were after Donington, and they were, but I think we're a bit more sceptical about whether they do the same at Brno, and they proved it there. And I think, just to be sure, we need to see what they can do at Laguna Seca. We just need that last confirmation. If it's a couple of podiums at Laguna, I think you can say Yamaha are back. And we should just add, Michael van der Mark, at the moment, it's van der Mark and Lowe's picking the points up when the Ducatis can't get up there, and when Jonathan Rea's falling down and Tom Sykes is falling down, like they did at Brno. If the Yamahas keep that up, keep taking the points they're taking off Johnny Rea...
I think they can probably do it on outright pace and performance.
On outright pace, as they proved at Donington.
Yeah.
But if these errors keep happening with Johnny Rea and the Kawasaki's and whatnot, who's to say that going into the last round, a slim chance, a very, very slim chance, that maybe, perhaps, Yamaha could overthrow Jonathan Rea as the King of World Superbikes, and maybe the 4th title isn't as straightforward as we think it is. Yes, okay, Johnny Rea's extended his lead from 64 points to 65 for all the difference that makes.
But again, look at. I mean, you can see in other championships before the last round, it was Marquez looking like he was about to do his old thing and strolling away with the championship. You were getting really worried about it until I mentioned, "Whoa, hold on a second." Until I
threw the banana in front of him on the track.
Well, of course, not everything is just when you think things are starting to get a bit boring. Just hold on a second, because something out of the ordinary, unexpected, might happen. And that's partly what's good about, what's amazing about watching racing, because I'm not saying that we're hoping for people to go down or have issues but
it's a drama. It's a spectacle.
It adds to the drama.
It creates that atmosphere, it creates that tension that you need in a championship. You know, people also, Dorna were very quick to jump all over the Rossi Marquez scuffle in Sepang in 2015. They there was a media blackout on it, can't mention it in broadcasting, all this and all that. But it was a massive plot twist. I use that phrase quite loosely, but seriously. No one expected that to happen. It came out of nowhere. I think Keith Ewan used the analogy, Valentino Rossi threw the grenade in the press conference and it came rolling back under him in the race. And it literally did. You know, it was a real issue, but it created that tension of the final race in 2015.
And also Dorna are very, very shrewd as well in how they choose to promote certain incidents that happen. Like you said, with that incident, it was almost a media blackout, really. But with what happened at
2018. Argentina, go on.
Yeah, they seem to promote the hell out of that. That was all over the place.
But I'd argue that the one in Argentina was a little bit almost similar, if not worse.
But
so it's a strange. He's a very strange.
It's entirely their decision what they choose to promote for whatever reason.
I would have rather they let it run after Sepang, just to carry it on. But there was enough rumours anyway with the media blackout, so I think we were okay.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to a bit of Catalan Grand Prix preview?
Indeed, yes. So we want to just before we do that, I do want to still keep welcoming new people tuned in to the show. It is the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. Hello and welcome. My name is Lester. Kiko Giles is here with us. We do this almost usually every Thursday, and when Kiko's not at school, college.
I'll finish now. Completely done.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Last exam.
Have you done your exams? Yeah.
I've done my exams, failing them in August. Confirmation.
Fantastic. But yeah, we usually hear live, barring any acts of bad,
God.
bad internet and 4G, as Andrew Irwin fell victim to that tonight. Welcome to if you're brand new to Motorsport Radio as well. Hello to you. And we don't just talk about bikes here, despite what the mostly bike-heavy website motorsport.radio looks like. We do occasionally have some Formula One stuff and other bits of stuff. But yeah, it's mostly.
There's an IndyCar. We're doing a new feature every Wednesday. It hasn't been promoted yet on the Motorsport Radio Facebook page or Twitter, but there is a new article out there. We're doing bucket list events. It's our new feature for now until the end of the racing season, really. Excusing Formula E, of course, because that's like forever going on and it will run and run. But yes, Indy 500 is the bucket list event this week, and it's in that article I say every reason why every motorsport fan should go.
Exactly. So these are a series of articles on the website for reasons and things and events that you must check out at least once in your life.
And if you have one that you think we should go to as well, whether it be a bike festival or whether it be
the Hornsey Bike Festival.
I knew that was coming. As soon as I said it, I was waiting for
it's on my calendar every year.
And classic car shows or classic bike shows, or
Silverstone Classic, though, I must say.
We're welcoming all forms of horsepower, but not the Grand National.
Why not?
It's not got an engine, has it?
Oh.
Leave it at that.
Anyway, so let us know basically, and do share Motorsport Radio with all your other motorsport minded friends as well on the internet. Right, enough
self-promotion.
I was going to call it something else, but anyway. But yeah, it is the Catalan Grand Prix this weekend, Kiko.
It is. Just before we get on to the actual Grand Prix preview, sad news coming from the Junior World Championship in CEV. It is very relevant to what's happening at the moment. Unfortunately, Avinti Racing's junior rider, Andreas Perez, was involved in a freak accident at the Catalan Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, and died following the accident. He was only 14 years old. Very sad times. I think we've had a minute silence in the press conference for him earlier. Obviously, not a massive name as far as the MotoGP view is concerned, but it's so sad. Age 14, that's just so sad. And of course, Avintia related as well. So he was on that progression ladder all the way up to MotoGP sometime in the future. So very, very sad news coming from the Junior World Championship there. Avintia Racing losing one of their stars of the future too. Indeed, very, very sad. And we pay respects to the family and friends from Motorsport Radio and Motorsport Media as well. So moving on, there is still a Grand Prix this weekend. There is. Yeah, it's Lorenzo looking to win again. Can he do it? Wow, I am not going to write him off. I almost did at Magellan, and I realised Lorenzo likes Magellan, and so did Ducati. Lorenzo hasn't had back-to-back wins in over 2 seasons. Le Mans and Mugello were the last time. Yamaha 2016. If he manages to do back-to-back wins again, as in for the first time for Ducati, but again in respect of what I've just said, how would Ducati let him go too soon? I mean, this is what we were trying to get at last week with our transfer window talk, I think. You know, Lorenzo is an enigma at Ducati, and who'd put it past him going out and blitzing them again? You know, it'd be incredible if he did. I don't think it's going to be as clear-cut as the Mugello race, I must say. Dovizioso, of course, his teammate, won in Catalunya in 2017. He's looking to repeat that performance. And if he does, Italians have won will have won the last 3 races at Catalunya. There is no other track on their calendar where they can say they've done that. The only other one they could do it at this year is at Sepang, because Andrea Dovizioso's 2 previous wins in 16 and 17. Pointless trivia for you there. Suzuki looking a lot better, I must say. Suzuki looking a lot better, and they come to a track where they've got good format. Last win was in 2000 with Kenny Roberts, but if you look in 2015, they qualified 1-2 on the front row, Alicia Spargo and Maverick Vinales. Last year, difficult for them, but in 2016, Maverick Vinales for them set the fastest lap of the race, a wayward Maverick Vinales on that day. So Suzuki looking like they could be a spoiler, looking to get back on the podium, looking to get their first back-to-back double top 5 since their return to Grand Prix racing. So keep an eye out for Andrea Iannone and Alex Rins. Valentino Rossi looking for his first win of the 2018 season, and I think Yamaha have turned a corner with his bike. At least Maverick Vinales was still languishing down the order at Mugello, but Valentino Rossi was battling for the podium and achieved a podium. If he gets another podium at Catalunya, it will be his 3rd podium on the bounce, and that is the first time that's happened since the start of 2017, the first time he's had 3 podiums in Europe since 2016. If he wins at Catalunya, it'll be his 11th win at that track alone, and it'll be his 116th of his career. The stats just keep mounting up for the doctor. Have you been doing some stats in the week? I may have, actually. I've got a belting stat. Where are we here? Talk amongst yourselves, viewers. Let me find out. Lester, you know I've been doing stats anyway for a certain someone. But people tuned in don't know. That's why I mentioned it. That's just I guess that's why. Yeah. Anyway, so while Kiko... I'll reel a belter off for you. But you don't want to mention all the good ones, because then Keith will have nothing to talk about in commentary, will he? Don't reveal who they're for, will you? Whatever you do. No. Where are we? Last Italian... In fact, I'll put this to the people and I'll answer it at the end. I'll put it to the people. Sound like a politician.
Sorry, Colin.
Right. Yes. Last Italian rider. Should Andrea Iannone win on a Suzuki? He will be the first Italian rider to win on a Suzuki since when? In other words, who was the last Italian to win on a Suzuki MotoGP or 500cc? Of course, it could be back then as well.
Don't know. Tell me.
No, I'll reveal at the end.
Oh, okay.
There's other statistics, though. Of course.
Yeah. Are they really good ones?
They are.
Okay.
Joe Roberts is looking to become the first American. We'll segue onto Moto2 at the moment. Looking to become the first American rider to score back-to-back points in the intermediate class since Kenny Roberts Jr. in 1995. And if you look at all that American talent that's spilled out on Grand Prix, none of them have come through 250s, which is an incredible statistic, I think. So absolutely, we are... we're inundated. One last one, because it's very relevant. If Ducati do win this weekend, it will be 15 years since their first ever Grand Prix win in the MotoGP era. Loris Capirossi won it that day, and it will be 15 years tomorrow to the date since he did.
That is that's a good stat, I think.
That is a very good stat, and I found that. No one go taking credit for it. I found that. No one else.
At least if you do steal stat, at least mention that you heard it on Motorsport Radio anyway. So
yes.
So well done for putting those stats together. Good job.
I think there's about 89 of them, and if anyone wants to know anything, of course. Payments are made available to... I'm joking. Leave that one out.
No, it's not joking.
Should we get back onto MotoGP anyway?
Yes.
Go on.
I wanted to know, Kiko, with Rossi seemingly doing better than his teammate, would it be... I mean, what's the situation there at the moment? Have they sorted everything out? Has the team? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Has the team sort of?
Is it all harmonious? And have they fixed the problems on both sides?
Yes. Because obviously it's. I'm sure they want both riders to be pushing each other and doing equally well and yada yada. Will that happen this weekend?
It's a very difficult one. It is a very difficult one. I had a conversation with one of my mates in Australia about this. Liam Stevenson, hello and welcome if you're tuning in live or back again on the old player or whatnot. Liam seems to think that it may be a rider issue with Yamaha, and actually maybe the bike isn't that bad. I go the other way and say the Yamaha just isn't there at the moment. You know, we're talking about Valentino Rossi, 9-time champion, not getting on with the bike, so to speak, until the last couple of rounds. And Maverick Vinales, no mug himself, won a MotoGP race, won in Moto2, won in Moto3, won in 125s. Knows how it's done, but not getting there. For some reason, Yamaha have just kind of let everything slide away. However, having said all of that, Valentino Rossi looking a lot happier at Yamaha, if you know what I mean. He looks a bit like his old self. And Catalunya, he won out 2 years ago. Maverick Vinales, though, now, I ain't trying to be disrespectful here to Alvaro Bautista. I am an Alvaro Bautista fan, and we're coming on to Alvaro in a minute, actually. But that Yamaha is not an 8th place bike. That Yamaha should not be anywhere near the Alvaro Bautistas of MotoGP. It's a factory machine. Alvaro Bautista's on a year-old Ducati, comes through the grid, just like he did last year. Alvaro Bautista started 16th in that race on Sunday, a couple of Sundays ago at Mugello, finished 9th. Maverick Vinales started 3rd, finished 8th. So, yes, okay, one's going forwards, one's going backwards, but that Yamaha shouldn't be going backwards at all. Valentino Rossi has proven, okay, Mugello and Spiritual Home and all that carry on, but that Yamaha is capable of more than an 8th, surely. Yes, it is as a bike, but are they struggling with a setup for Maverick Vinales?
It's still relatively early on in the season, though, to be honest.
It is, however, there are 2 riders in that MotoGP paddock that are notorious for riding a bike completely upside down to how the bike normally is conventionally set up. Aleix Espargaro is one of them, and he left Suzuki like that. and Maverick Vinales is the other. And he left Suzuki like that, which is kind of why I feel a bit sorry for Andrea Iannone and Alex Rins last year, because they were having to learn that bike that was completely on its head. And I feel a little bit like Maverick Vinales is starting to drag Yamaha down a different route of development, and they've got lost because that's not how they know how to develop a bike.
But
Valentino Rossi has asked for a 2008 style turnaround, but even that wasn't the biggest turnaround. Yamaha, they were still a winning manufacturer well into 2006 and 7, but the 2 years previous. But the last 2 years, there's been very little.
Would they, honestly though, realistically go with what Vinales says? Wouldn't they just take the lead from whatever Rossi says, and then if he's stuck on how to turn things around, then maybe ask his advice? I mean,
it depends, doesn't it? I mean, maybe
you're not going to ignore whatever Rossi.
No. You're not going to ignore Valentino, but you're not going to ignore Maverick either. You know, for me, there is no clear number one in that team, because obviously Valentino Rossi is the most successful, but Maverick finished ahead of him last year in the championship, and I'd argue that for out and out, or one lap pace and probably over the race distance, Maverick's quicker, but it's his racecraft that isn't there at the moment, unlike Valentino. But we've seen Valentino become champion not being necessarily the fastest rider out there. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, you're not going to just solely listen to Valentino, and you're not just going to solely listen to Maverick, but because both riders are so different, and Maverick especially so different to any other rider, Yamaha just might be parting ways like that, and they're going down too many roads, and they think that somehow they're going to go like that and somehow shape up at the top. But all I think they're going to do is they're going to keep going and going and going and going until one of the riders leaves, because there is no clear direction. There doesn't seem to be a clear direction at the moment as far as Yamaha's development's concerned. Valentino Rossi seems to be able just to get on with the bike for now. Maybe they're going to do what they did in 2014, take 12 races to start coming good, and then just blitz the last 6 at the end of the season. I don't know.
Do you know what they should do? Have you got any setup solutions for them? I'd be very surprised. But if you do, then do you know whether I wouldn't say they're languishing down at they're almost there, I would say, but not quite, if you know what I mean. But let us know either way if you have any opinions on that. Right, Zarco, what is going on? Is he coming back? Back as in where we think he should be? And why is he?
It's a difficult one with Zarco, because I don't know. Mugello last year for him was a difficult round. He qualified on the 3rd row, bit of a disaster. Didn't get on with the track, really wasn't up the front. But he was like it again this year. But he was like it again this year off the back of crashing out of his home Grand Prix from 2nd place whilst closing on Jorge Lorenzo. So has it had an effect? He's so flaky. Johann Zarco is so flaky. We've seen him 2 or 3 occasions last year, in mixed conditions especially. He's kind of a little bit oddball. He will come in and do some... Yeah, he's unconventional. Yeah, he's unconventional.
Hi, Johan.
In some of his mythology. And I'm confused. I really are. I don't think Zarco's away. I just think Mugello just, maybe for him, doesn't work on a MotoGP bike. I think he'll be back in Catalonia.
We will get to predictions a bit later. So if you have any predictions at all, then you're more than welcome to impart them.
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know either way. Will we see more of Zarco at the front? Back to where maybe... Are you a fan of Zarco? Do you not even care or like him? Would you just prefer to have him stay down in where he's been sort of competing the past couple of races? Let us know.
Yes. We shall see.
I'm not.
You're on the fence.
I'm a neutral on Zarco. I'd like to see, like I would do with many other riders, I'd like to see them all do really well. Is that a bit of a cop-out? Anyway.
Yes, it is. Let's just go through the rest of the preview quickly, then we'll get on to Moto 2 in a bit, and so on and so forth. Keep an eye on Zarco. We've mentioned that he probably will come back at Catalonia, but KTM are itching for a top 10. I cannot stress to you how much they will want a top 10. Every other manufacturer's had a top 10. They came out of 2017 looking like the bike to be on, looking like they could make a massive step forward. But I will allude to what me and Bradley Smith spoke about at the NEC when we covered our Superbike show back then. The first second is easy to find. The second one's the hard one, and it's never been a truer statement than that. Aprilia, they just need points at the moment. They really need to get in them points. Scott Redding, not going to be there next year. Aleix Espargaro, at the moment, well, he's going to be there, but at the moment, he's not performing how I think he should be. One rider to look out for, mentioned him earlier, Alvaro Bautista. Look, excuse me, so I am confused two words there. Looking for his first back-to-back top 10 since the Red Bull Ring and Silverstone last season. I think Alvaro, and people will slate me off and call me this and call me that, Alvaro Bautista is one of the most underrated riders on that grid. I really like him. I really like Alvaro's approach. Finally, though, is it really all that simple for Rossi and the co? It is all about Marc Marquez. We've got to be on about that, surely. Another crash, and it is all to play for, but another DNF or another non-point scoring finish and the championship. And we go to Assen next, and we know Valentino Rossi's the king of Assen. Could all get swung around a little bit, I feel. It is going to be so exciting to watch.
And you can watch it all on the old BT Sport or on the MotoGP thing.
And can I just say, the Italian Grand Prix coverage from BT Sport, absolutely fantastic. It's hard to get atmosphere across from a TV point of view, but it felt like you were there. It was very immersive.
Yeah, absolutely. I concur with Kiko.
So, where did that word come from? Concur.
Anyway, championship standings then. If you're not aware of how things look in MotoGP, Marquez at the top, 95 points at the moment. Rossi in second place on 72 points. Vinales in third. So I don't know what Kiko was on about earlier.
I was going to say, I thought you were about my championship standings then, that we done earlier.
He's on 67 points. The thing about, is it basically all over for Vinales?
Yeah, but
what the hell's going on? He's third. He's right behind Rossi.
Hang on a minute. When was his last podium in Europe, Lester?
Oh, well, let me just rack my brain.
Would it be Aragon last year?
Tip of my tongue.
And when we're talking about Europe making up the bulk of the season, the only thing Vinales is going for him at the moment is his record of consecutive finishes. He ain't crashed since Assen.
It's working for him. I mean, as every rider knows, if you can't...
but it isn't working when you're 38 points off, is it? Sorry, 28 points off. That's my thoughts.
He's third at the moment, and it only takes another DNF or non-points finish from Marquez, and then boom. He's literally in the mix. Dovizioso in fourth place at the moment on 1 point behind Vinales with 66 points. Zarco in fifth with 64 points. So there's like a huge pack. 7 points separate third place in the standings to seventh place.
If you look overall, between Valentino Rossi's on 72 points, and in 10th place, Jorge Lorenzo, 41. There's only 31 points covering that lot. And if you look...
A couple of rounds.
Yeah, exactly. If you look down to Iannone, 12 points covers second to seventh. One error from Marquez, and he is amongst all of that lot. And that is not what you want, because then everyone believes a little bit more in themselves. People start pushing on a little bit more. People start taking it to Marquez a little bit more. And he starts battling with people he hasn't had to all season. And we know... Zarco crashed in Le Mans, Iannone crashed in Le Mans, Dovi crashed in Le Mans. We know there are some quality riders that make mistakes, and if he gets tangled up with them, this championship, unlike what I said after Le Mans, is completely open, and it's a free-for-all, and that'll make for a fantastic end to the year.
If that is what happens at all.
If that is what happens, but it's very realistic.
Generally, the exact opposite of whatever Kiko says is usually going to be the thing that happens.
So when it comes to predictions later, put an accumulator on what he says to do, not what I say to do. Do the opposite.
Don't do that. No,
listen to Lester. He is never wrong.
I I am occasionally
Well,
wrong.
yeah, he was last weekend.
But you may be asking, where's Cal in the standings? Well, he's in eighth.
Flying the British flag.
Yes, 56 points, just a few points away from Iannone in seventh, and quite a few points ahead of Jack Miller. I say a few in MotoGP terms anyway. But yeah, it's he's still
Solidly
in there. He's
in the
P8.
top 10.
Yeah,
Solidly in the top 10, solidly in the hunt. He is a podium. He's a third place away from second place in the championship if Valentino Rossi cocks it all up.
Exactly, and we could have another situation, where he might be, for whatever reason, in third place. Top two take each other out, maybe, and boom, another win.
Winner, a win.
Who knows?
Keep racking wins up.
The other Brits, Brad Smith. Should we gloss over that? Down in 20th place at the moment.
Definitely gloss over Scott Redding. I think.
Yeah.
We can only fit. I don't think we've got the graphics.
My
for
browser doesn't scroll that far down.
We our graphics we create. I don't know if we're going to have them on at any point, but we can only get 20 on, and Scott Redding isn't in that 20. I'm afraid. Not good for the Brits.
So yeah, Moto 2 though. What's the latest in Moto 2, Kiko?
Well, I think Mugello was a sign, and it was a sign that the front four have become established. Francesco Bagnaia, Lorenzo Baldassarri, Joan Mir, and Miguel Oliveira had a great scrap in Mugello, and I think we're in for a bit more of it in Catalonia. Alex Marquez was off the pace at Mugello. He has to win at Catalonia like he did last year and bring himself back into some sort of championship contention, because if it is them four consolidating the biggest loads of points, the top 4 point scoring positions, Alex Marquez will soon find himself marooned out of this championship race. So it's all about Bagnaia, Baldassarri, Mir and Oliveira. Romano Fenati will look to get back in the hunt this weekend. Of course, he was 7th at Le Mans, and he was running in the top 7 at Mugello till his off-track runoff at Turn 1, San Donato. As we said earlier, Joe Roberts looking to become the first American to score points in back-to-back races in over 23 seasons of racing. Unbelievable. And Kenny Roberts Jr. was the last 1995 at Brno and Jacarapagua, the Brazilian Grand Prix. So stats all round there. But Joe Roberts, I mentioned him. We're not just mentioning him for the sake of the stat. We're mentioning him because that NTS chassis is going forward now. It is definitely developing on the right scale. Stephen Odendahl was in the points as well last time, of course, as well. So I think towards the end of the season, we'll be looking at them NTSs getting in the top 10. But it'll be interesting to see what those two do at Catalonia, because they have both been to Catalonia for the AGR team in the Junior World Championship. So they will come good, I'm fairly sure. Sam Lowes has to stay on his bike this weekend and get some good points. It was another crash at Mugello. He's languishing way down.
Is it make or break weekend, maybe, Fame?
He's 18th in the championship, Leicester. We know he's better than that. Yes, it is. It is absolutely make or break in there. And just one last mention in Moto 2. Andrea Locatelli's progress has been rather good. Has improved in every single race since round 2 and got his first top 10 of the season with an 8th place at his home round at the Italian Grand Prix. So it's not just Mattia Passini on the Italtrans Calex doing the business. Andrea Locatelli is joining him. Keep your eyes out on number 5.
Indeed, yes. One to watch. Also, maybe one to watch, perhaps, as well, is maybe we might be seeing a bit of an American talent wave coming through, maybe. Joe Roberts, do you think he might be just starting that crest of the Americans?
I don't know if he's starting it, but he's definitely in there. Because if you look, PJ Jacobson is constantly in the points in World Superbikes. You've got to imagine, although he's had a subpar start to the season, Jake Gagne, when he gets to Magny-Cours and all the circuits he was at the end of last year, as well as Laguna Seca, of course, as well at America, he would have been there many, many a time. You'd have to think that he will start coming good and start getting in that top 10. PJ Jacobson, likewise, will start progressing forward to the top 10. In Britain, Ever-Equip Racing's James Rispoli, we've had him on the show. If you haven't listened to the interview, watch it back or listen to it back. He's an American, which we know has got bags of talent on the right bike. He's proven that with Everquip Racing. So there are 3 or 4 Americans starting to creep back in to World Championships and at the top level. If they can get that far, if Joe Roberts can get in the next 5 years to MotoGP, if James Raspoli can get to World Supersport Superbikes, if Gagne, if Jacobsen can get to the top 6 or 7 of World Superbikes, suddenly you've got a question. Maybe America is coming back a little bit.
Incidentally, just a little side note about James Raspoli. He was at the American Speedfest at Brands Hatch last weekend, having a few selfies with a Donald Trump impersonator.
Yes,
that, by the way.
That was interesting stuff. I must say,
about an American wave of culture.
We actually have exclusive images of Donald Trump later on in the show. Stay tuned.
Okay, yes, that's the thing that I neglected to mention. Stay tuned. I know you all tuned in, especially but this is actually a pretty decent photo as well, and it relates to bikes. It
does, very. Nice, and if you look closely, yes.
Exactly. So are we done with Moto 2? I'll
crack on with Moto 3.
I'll give you the standings, actually, just in case you're not up to date with all your Moto 2 stuff. So leading the way at the moment, until probably Sunday. Moto 2 world standings, it's Bagnaia on 111 points, Miguel Oliveira on 98 points in second place, Baldassarri in third on 84 points, pretty spread out, I would say. Alex Marquez in fourth, 78 points, and Jean Mir in fifth, Xavi Vierge in sixth with 59 points, just ahead of Passini, Brad Binder, and Marcel Schrotter. Marcel Schrotter.
Derek's younger cousin.
Exactly. Are your top 9 in Moto 2.
Ike Lecuona is the one that he regrets to say because he can't say it. He's intentional. We don't just do the top 9, we do the top 10. But no, great stuff all round, I think, there in Moto 2. If you look down the order, though, you've got to think that, the likes of Sam Lowes will finish higher than 18th. Andrea Locatelli's coming up. Luca Marini, a little bit disappointing, 13th place. I know he's a little bit injured, but you think... he's only got a broken neck. He hasn't really. You just expect a bit more now. He's been in the class long enough. Runner-up in the Junior World Championship in 2016 as well, I believe. 15 even, because I remember interviewing Luca actually in 16. So yeah, there's a lot of food for thought and room for progression.
Fair enough. On to swiftly moving on to the old Moto 3 then, and it's quite tight at the top.
Yeah, 8 points covering the top 3. But all will be turned on its head if that top 3 reverses itself for the podium at Catalonia. Not sure if it's going to happen. Bezzecchi has come out of nowhere. I was not expecting this consistency from Bezzecchi. Had he not crashed in Le Mans, he would have been on the podium at more or less every race this year, besides the first one, and I believe Kota. I may even be wrong on that, but he was definitely up there. So yeah, things are looking good. Jorge Martin looking for his 5th pole of the season, his 5th consecutive pole of the season as well. So stuff to look out for there. The Junior World Championship riders that have come out of there, the former Junior World Championship riders, the likes of Dennis Foggia, I think could be a little bit of a surprise this weekend. Yuma Sasaki is another one. Kazuki Masaki is another, because they've been to Catalonia. Albeit not this layout, but they've still been. And I would like to suggest, possibly, that they could be a spoiler, I think is the fair way to put it. Gabriel Rodrigo, I'm going to find another statistic about him in a minute, about Argentina in a minute. In fact, I can remember it off the top of my head. If he wins, we've got to remember, Rodrigo is from Barcelona. He just takes Argentine nationality. But if he wins in Catalonia, he will be the first Argentine rider to win a lightweight class race. And what we mean by that is a Moto3 or 125cc race. Since Willy Perez in 1986 at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. I couldn't believe it'd been that long. You got the likes of Sebastian Porto and everyone. Unbelievable. So Rodrigo definitely looking for a podium at home, I suppose you could call it. And Bastianini needs a good result, though. He's rapidly losing touch in the championship. We're going to flick on to Moto3 now. Bastianini is 7th, 40 points behind championship leader Bezzecchi. But we've seen this so often. Bastianini will start slow and will build up through the year, but by that time, it's normally Aragon he starts coming good, and Motegi, it's too late. So Bastianini got to look for his first win in over a year, really, at Catalunya. One last bit of information. Honda have won the last 4 races at Catalunya. The last non-Honda winner was in 2013, the late, great Louis Salom for KTM.
Blimey. Well, but you didn't know that, did you? Well, you did. But
it's just amazing because in Mugello, it was all KTMs who had won, and it was the FTR of Maverick Vinales that was the last one. FTR Honda of Maverick Vinales was the last non-KTM winner. 2 weeks later, it's all a Honda track. So will we see a KTM on top? Probably now I've said that.
Interesting. Let us know your thoughts on Moto 3 and indeed Moto 2. Any favourites? Do you have any predictions about what might happen this weekend? Can some of Kiko's stats be
persuasion?
Okay.
Well, it could.
You never know. But if you know something about anything, let us know. Call the old hotline, otherwise known as the comments box below, and let us know. And by the way, some people have sent us bits of news in the past privately by direct message, knowing that we are going to read them out, and we thank them for that as well. Incidentally, other people, riders, departing teams, seems to be the favoured choice of doing so at the moment on a Thursday night between 8 and 10, mostly during this show.
Yes,
we're more than happy for that to continue being the case. If anybody wants to get any grievances about their old team off their chest during the show, maybe come on,
be diplomatic. I'm not. By the way, people are going to think I'm crying. I'm not. I've got a very itchy left eye.
Oh,
yeah, it's all getting a bit too much.
He's looking forward to Snetterton this weekend. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But on to, because we are swiftly running out of time, and
where has this time gone?
We thought, well, we'd probably just do a quick show tonight. I'm not going to ramble on about nonsense that we usually do, but yeah, that's happened. But yeah, MotoGP, back to MotoGP then, yes. And let's go on to some rumours and some proper hot gossip, Kiko. Yeah, starting off with Pedrosa.
Yeah, they're more or less the same as what we said last week, Lester. Pedrosa's still jobless. We know that. Confirmed his future a bit today. Has he really, though? I'd playing a bit of a card, I reckon. Scott Redding's career still unsure as far as the media is concerned, as far as we're concerned.
Does he know? As he said.
Yeah, as far as he's maybe concerned.
Should we get him on?
Can we try and get him on? Scott Redding, if you're listening, join us.
To be honest, I'd be very surprised if he wants to come on, given this.
Well, you never know. He's free to dig Aprilia out if you want. Let's see what happens. We've got on our rumours that Meehan's still not confirmed to Suzuki. Yes, he is. We broke that earlier. Reading to World Superbikes again. People have mentioned it. Morbidelli's contracted to Mark Vidi. Yes, we know. Will he stay with them? Well, probably, but on what machinery we don't know. So coming back to a question earlier that came in, forgot who said it now. Sorry, amnesia kicking in there. Will we see a Suzuki team? Maybe. Well, could be. Depends if Mark VS sort themselves out.
Right. So no other business then, in terms of hot gossip, big rumours. To be honest, since the last round in BSB, anyway, there's already been a ton of news since then. Anyway, so
and we've tended to break it live though. So we, by the time the next
we're on the ball.
We're literally on it.
So.
On the ball, having a ball. Motorsport Radio, their new slogan, provided by KG Slogan Services.
Moving on.
So we talk about World Superbikes. Get onto a championship.
Yes, exactly. World Superbikes, Brno.
Yamaha on top again, but not with Michael van der Mark. Alex Lowe's, after so many seasons of trying, finally does it. Takes a win at Renault, race 2, fantastic scenes indeed. Pretty impressive stuff. Yamaha won 2, first one they've had for 7 seasons since the last race of 2011. Marco Melandri and Eugene Labadie that day.
I remember it well.
What track was it at?
Oh, it was at the old end of season track there. No idea, to be honest. Australia?
Portimao. If you said Phillip Island, I would have said the right start in there, but other letters would have all obviously been wrong. But no. Johnny Ray domination in race 1, Kawasaki calamity in race 2. What on earth was all that? Johnny Ray lost the front, got nudged off, lost the front in race 2. Tom Sykes lost the rear end in race 2. Kawasaki lost the plot completely on that one. I do not know how they put themselves in such a situation. Before the crash of Jonathan Ray, he'd already tagged the back of Tom Sykes. Taking each other out is just no good. So Kawasaki got a bit of work to do at America. And can I just say, and I'm not doing this for a bit of tension, Kawasaki are not great at Laguna Seca. Johnny Ray has had a couple of incidents at Laguna Seca. We could prove us wrong and come out with a double. We know he's got the pace to do that, but Yamaha
stop covering all bases, saying,
go well at Laguna Seca. Kawasaki a little bit unsure. Johnny Ray, one mistake and it all closes up again. Leon Camier, as we mentioned earlier in the show, improving all the time. Another double top 10 finish for him. I do not think it'll be long before that Honda gets a podium. I think I actually have a bet with Tom Brooks after our Indian back at Donington Park for the British Talent Cup that their Honda wouldn't win a race. I said it would. Tom said it wouldn't. I think it may well do it. I think Leon Camier is going to get his first race win by the end of the year.
Absolutely fantastic.
Hey, there it is. The soundboard of Tom Brooks there, provided to you by Lester Forbes. Terrible weekend for Geordie Torres, just while we cap off the World Superbike news. I don't even know what to say. It was completely disaster.
He was one to watch a couple of years ago, wasn't he? He was looking like he was
faded away big time. But he's faded away on. I was going to start swearing then. Poor machinery. I won't let you guess the word I was going to say before that. Piss poor was what I was going to say, but I didn't look at the time until after I'd stopped thinking about it. But Geordie Torres. Worrying.
As Elvis left the building.
Spanish Elvis, he is known as. How did you find that out? You must have journalisted to do that. Noggin, look at it. Building and building all the time. But no, very interesting stuff indeed, I must say. Geordie Torres looking, I think, got to get a podium for MV Agusta. They've dropped off since Leon Camier left the team.
Well, could maybe, and we spoke about it earlier in the show about the possibility of a Ray domination. Maybe that won't happen for various reasons. It only takes a couple of bad rounds, maybe, or like you said, maybe someone else is going to come good towards the end of the season. But could maybe Yamaha win the championship potentially if everybody else does, or maybe there's something happen with. Like I suggested, maybe Johnny Ray or the teammates just crashing into each other and falling off and flying off everywhere. Could it be even Yamaha that wins?
Consistency is key in motorcycle racing. I'll be honest, it's going to take a lot for Yamaha to win it this season. However, as I said earlier, it takes a couple more Yamaha wins, takes a couple more Johnny Ray subpar performances or crashes.
And suddenly they're feeling a bit worried.
Yamaha could emerge as the biggest championship rival to them because Ducati are completely lost at the moment. They're developing their V4. But Yamaha look like they've been inspired, and I hate that word inspired because, well, what are you at the other time? But Yamaha look like they're look in the groove. They look good at the front. They actually don't look. We've said earlier they can do it on merit. They can do it if others crash. I think Yamaha, really, if they are getting to Magny-Cours, with still podiums each week, still taking points off Johnny Ray at some races, Magny-Cours always seems to be one of them odd races where things happen, weather interferes. Then we go to Argentina, which is an unknown territory for everyone. So Yamaha could win there, as could Kawasaki. But Yamaha could just surprise us. We know that bike is getting more and more to the front. It's getting closer to the front. It could be a hell of a late season charge for them, but Michael van der Mark at the moment looks faultless.
Well, there's a lot to be said for being on a roll, being on a high.
Colin Wright was talking about it. Crest of the wave, ride the crest for as long as you can.
And it is much the same way as being inspired. Something. I mean, you have a couple of good races, a couple of good podiums, maybe a double podium. You have a couple of wins, and then all of a sudden, boom, you've got the confidence, and you've got, in theory, the confident upper hand, really, which is invaluable. You can't even buy that sort of stuff. You might not have the best bike and the best package, but suddenly you can get, if you've won the last round, let's say, for example, no matter what round it is, just as a hypothetical, if you've had a couple of good podiums or have been winning the last round, you might come into this next round totally, no matter what round it is, for example, knowing that you're not going to be great, but you can still swagger about saying, of course, we're on top at the moment, we're on a bit of a roll.
Then it's north of the eyebrows. It's all about being north of the eyebrows. It's 50% in this game, 80% in motorcycle racing. It's what goes on in your head. And if you're confident, if you are on that roll, if you're on peak every single time, top of the session, top 3 in the session, looking front rows, fastest laps, starting from pole, podiums, race wins, all of them things add up, and it's exactly what's coming together for Yamaha. It's all falling into place at a time when things have started to slip away from Kawasaki. Yes, okay, Johnny Ray dominated race 1, but he didn't come through quickly in race 2 from the back of the grid, and we've seen him do it so many times.
And I'm not suggesting that he is vulnerable to being on the wrong side of mind games. But it can happen. He is human. It can happen to anyone. Certainly with the history behind him, he's already won enough. 3. Some may say.
It's not just that. It's the same in many sports. So if you look at, to give a football analogy, Leicester City got that role going and would not stop rolling, and they carried on to the Championship, to the Premier League title. It's happening. It may happen in MotoGP. Who's to say Jorge Lorenzo won't win the championship now? Now he's got that. Nice laugh. I heard that. But the momentum is with Jorge at the moment. Front row start at Mugello. Clears off at Mugello. Wins at Mugello. He's done the same at Catalunya before, just not for Ducati. But was Mugello that bit that clicked? Other sports. A few years ago, a snooker player. I can't remember his name. Hawkins, I think it was, or Williams, or someone like that. Come out of nowhere, started winning. It is so confidence. It's just such a big thing in sport. Most cycle racing is no exception. Johnny Ray on a bit of a downer. Yeah, okay, won race 1 and whatnot, but beaten in the battle in Donington Park, beaten in a battle in race 2 at Donington Park, taken out by his teammate at race 2 at Brno. Yes, his championship lead's gone up, and arguably that's all that matters in a championship. But it's come down to the Yamahas, and the Yamahas are the ones coming forward. They are the ones that look like they have the pace.
I mean, even
keep an eye on them.
Yeah, stuff might just sort of take you completely out of the blue. For example, like you might be feeling ill that weekend. You might have the flu. You might have some sort of just small little niggling injury that just plays in the back of your mind, for example. Like, wasn't he ill at the start of the season in Australia or something?
Absolutely. And he had a wrist,
or something, or what?
Food poisoning, wrist injury as well after. These things play. Casey Stoner is an example. Had an illness in 2009, had to take time out. Now, I would have said in 2009, Casey Stoner was a championship contender until that point. We hope for everyone's sake, of course, that all the riders stay fit and healthy and whatnot, because that's what makes the spectacle fun and tense at the end of the day. But you cannot rule these things out. The Yamahas are gaining at the same time that Kawasaki's, both of them, are losing. Tom Sykes is behind a Yamaha now. Who's to say an injury, like as you said, a DNF for Marquez can blow the Championship open? I can't believe it, but how good would it be to go to Qatar, World Superbikes? Championship still not decided, 3 riders still in with the hunt for that championship. That'd be what Dorna want.
Exactly. I think that's what we all want, not necessarily to have any... speaking purely as absolute neutral, I would love to have a situation where you're going into the last round, like you say, and anybody could win it. It just adds a certain bit of drama that I wouldn't say it's lacked in the past few years. Maybe you might say that.
Yeah.
And but it's lacked something, certainly. And
a spark.
Yeah.
It's like
nobody likes a runaway winner in anything, do they? Really?
Have you ever put dynamite under a wheelbarrow?
Yes.
It's a bit like that. Dynamite will take ages and ages and ages to actually light up, but then when it does, the wheelbarrow goes about 50 foot in the air, and that's, I think, what World Superbikes is coming up to. Not maybe this year, next year. It's just gone to that dull stage, and slowly, and bang, comes back. Amazing.
Yes, and for other Mansfield pastimes, you can...
lock people's bikes up with other locks. Please don't.
Don't do that. That does sound like a Kiko classic, though. I wouldn't know, to be honest. So, yeah, World Superbikes to one side, because we are running swiftly out of time. Tonight's big debate, have we had any further comments on that? Which, by the way, the question was, if you've just tuned in and you don't know what it is, which corners in MotoGP, we've expanded it to World Superbikes as well, but which corners, let's say, in the world, in any world track, would you name after a rider, and why? So what corners in any big world track circuit would you name, if you could, after any rider, and why? Obvious people and obvious names spring to mind, of course, but I want to hear from people who you might nominate as not necessarily the obvious ones, for obvious reasons as well.
Am I right as well in thinking that Ayrton Senna has a chicane named after him? The Senna S or something like that?
Yes, I'm sure he has a couple. Senna S at Brazil, I think. Senna S at... I'm sure there must be more than one circuit where Senna has a name.
It's like Snetterton this weekend, right? The turn 4 is a hairpin, and it's called Agostini. So I just think, what a demoralising name for a 15-time champion, being named after putting your name next to a hairpin. You'd want it to be like a flat-out fourth gear.
It's better
moving up to the gearbox.
Well, I don't know. It's better to be respected by having a corner on a track named after you rather than being forgotten.
That's very true. This is very true. I think we should have a nomination for a track, a corner to be named Crutchlow's Corner, Silverstone somewhere. Trying to think where.
Oh, that's just cursing people, isn't it?
No, because I think something like Stowe. Although Stowe, I always think Stowe. Was it? You'll know more.
Schumacher.
Mansell and Piquet. Side by side to them, Mansell took the lead in the end.
Yes, it was.
Why don't they rename that Mansell's? I think that'd be such a great corner name.
Because it's probably more famous for Schumacher breaking his leg, to be honest.
We can't call it Schumacher's because he broke his leg.
Yeah, the Brits would. We would absolutely do that.
He'll put a pub on the outside, the red line in. Shall we move on anyway? Yes, back to real sport.
Exactly.
Are we doing a girlfriend talk now?
Are we doing a girlfriend talk, Kiko?
I think we should.
Let's do it then. Yay.
Have we got the image though? Because
no.
I don't. And we haven't got the image.
No, I deleted them last week when we didn't talk about the girlfriend thing.
Thank you. Valentina Rossi has got a new girlfriend. Spotted in Mugello. Don't know whether she'll be at...
She's not that spotty. I wouldn't say
so. Thank you. Don't know whether she'll be at Catalunya. Looked on her Instagram story today, obviously, and she's... Yeah, and she's still in Italy. You know me. But no, Francesca Sevilla Novello is her name, if you want to go and check her out. As I say, she was in attendance at Mugello. No doubt that Fernando Alonso is sitting not far away, waiting to pick up the pieces of another Valentino Rossi acquaintance. I don't want to use rejects or sloppy seconds. I just have anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And Alicia Spargo and his missus have had kids. On our thing it says are having kids. Well, obviously one of them is. They have had them. Twins they are. Don't know what they're called. Probably not Pollen and Leish, though. I wouldn't have thought so.
I'd probably just say congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations on all that, by the way.
Jesus. I won't have you writing anyone's congratulatory card or anything. Anyway, but yeah.
We have an entertaining image, do we not?
I've been
the world this whole time.
I don't know where this came from, and this is only a visual radio thing, so apologies. But we can probably, shall we put it up on the Twitter as well? At M Sport Radio. Let's bang it up on there. But anyway, just explain.
On the right we have Lester Forbes. On the left we have Kika. I'm joking. Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump, of course, are massive world powers for various reasons, and they met in Singapore.
Pictured shaking hands at the recent summit.
Shaking hands at the recent summit about denuclearization and basically stopping World War III. And Donald Trump, if you're looking close enough, is carrying a very interesting book indeed, and that is the brand new Carl Fogarty book. I
don't know who's made that. Have you made that?
No, I haven't. I found it on Carl Fogarty's Twitter because, of course, he retweeted it. And for a split second, as you know, Lester, because we had a chat about this off air, I thought it may be real, but then I put two and two together and thought, why would he be bringing that to a summit in North Korea? But obviously...
Kiko did want to include the image that we're talking about right now as part of the news.
Obviously, Donald Trump and Carl Fogarty have many similar personality traits.
I hear he's a great guy, totally great, on a bike and everything. He's the best, only the best.
Best impression ever. They are hard-working, very hard-talking, and probably at the time at their respective highs, very, very determined people as well. So yeah, Carl Fogarty there featured.
Well done to whomever made
that incredible. We don't know who did it. I found it on Carl Fogarty's Twitter. So
maybe
great.
Carl put it in there. Maybe he's a whiz on Photoshop.
I don't think he's that vain. To do something like that.
Either someone's very vain, or someone really loves Carl Fogarty and wants to
Trump
put the book into every scenario. But I suppose it is similar to when Trump was elected and he was holding up these big things about what he's going to do and these what were the new rules and laws, and somebody literally photoshopped over them like, I like cats or something, or simple phrases and stuff like that. Yes. It was amusing. You'll have to take my word for it.
Yeah, I like cats. Absolutely hilarious. Had me rolling around on the floor for hours.
So there we go. Donald Trump at the recent World Saving Summit, allegedly holding Carl Fogarty's book.
Yes.
You heard it here first.
Yes, we're going to skip through World Superbike rumours because they are literally the same as...
same old tripe.
Same old rubbish, yeah. We still don't know whether Van der Mark's going to go to Kawasaki, but we'll move on. We're doing the rider conversation, rider corner names conversation as we go on through the show. So let's go and turn our attentions to the Snetterton BSB. Leon Haslam looking to finally win at Snetterton. Never won at Snetterton before. Bradley Ray is looking to be back on the podium. Obviously had a weekend off it at Alton Park, the Suzuki rider. Shane Byrne, now recovering from his injuries, contracting pneumonia. So hopefully Shane Byrne, all the very best to him. Difficult times. Rushed into hospital a couple of nights ago. Glad to say he's on the mend again. Glenn Irwin, I think, is looking to consolidate his showdown place this weekend. As you can see, 5th in the standings. If you're looking on the visual radio, we've got the standings there on your right-hand side. There's 5 riders I want to keep an eye on this weekend. Tommy Bridewell, I feel now, I think Tommy Bridewell was up for a top 8 this weekend at Snetterton. I also think Luke Mossey, very, very quick at the Snetterton test, and obviously had a great showing in World Superbikes. I think he could be a prospect. Danny Buchan has been an absolute sensation this year, 8th in the championship, and he is not far off either. He is right on the money, I must say. Danny Buchan currently 2 points behind Josh Brooks and 14 behind one of his closest friends, Jake Dixon. So 14 points off a showdown place. Danny Buchan's target was top 10 this year, but if you finish 8th in all the races, you would get in that showdown, and Danny Buchan's doing that. And of course, that 4th place he picked up at Donington Park Race 2 would have helped a long way too. Michael Laverty, again, he is 9th in the championship, just 2 points behind Danny Buchan. He will be looking to capitalise on Shane Byrne's absence, but also he looks like he's got the Tyco BMW more or less how he wants it. And Josh Brooks as well. Great TT for the Australian. He's looking to take himself and his moustache into the top 6.
Yes, has he still got that thing?
I believe he has still got the spoiler.
Yeah.
So it gives yours a run for its money.
I don't have. I shaved it off.
Oh, wasn't obvious. Of course, we mentioned earlier the stock thousands are on. So we turn our attention to Super Sports as we switch again to the British Super Sport Championship standings, and Jack Kennedy on top at 140 points, 14 behind Ben Curry. Ben, you've got to start winning. Me and Steve Buckingham have £100. I reckon you're going to win the championship. He reckons Jack Kennedy's going to win it. £100 at rest here. Ben, please, can we start taking that championship lead back? No pressure at all. Only a couple of scores on that. James Spody for Everquick Racing is a distant third at the moment. 4th is Ross Twyman, and then James Westmoreland is 5th. I think somewhat languishing. I think the overall feeling is that we expected him to be a little bit higher. Tom Oliver and Brad Jones, 2 rookies in the class, doing fantastic jobs, 6th and 7th. David Allingham is 8th, Bradley Perry is 9th, and Jamie Perrin is 10th. That rounds out your top 10.
Fantastic stuff. So
interestingly as well, just before we move on, Joe Francis, who is now racing in the Asia Road Racing Championship with Yamaha, We Bike Yamaha, he's still 16th in the championship on 13 points.
Any news about any rumours in BSB? Not that we've had so much happen since the last rounds, and it seems so long ago. But has there been any other rider changes? Any last minute rumours? Anything at all? What have you got for us? Go on.
There's not been many. I must admit, there's not been many since we brought them to you, apart from the Mission Racing we spoke about earlier. Have pulled out of Stock 1000, which is a big shame. Is leaving Fraser Rogers without a ride. Looking to go into FIM European Super Stock 1000 Championship, I believe. And then you've got Ben Godfrey as well, long eaten rider, out of a job at the moment. It's such a shame. And we said also about Taz Taylor. He broke that news to his social media following earlier on, just after this show begun. Josh Elliott's obviously left Morello, been replaced by Luke Jones. Luke Jones has left his privateer team. Name's going to come. Josh Elliott has gone to OMG Racing. Forgot Josh's name there for a moment. Apologies there. So yeah, there's been a little bit of chopping and changing.
And Ben Luxton as well. Ben
Luxton's back at GNS Kawasaki. We brought that to you last week. There has been a few changes. Blades Racing, of course, taking a sabbatical for now, coming back at around 6 Vans Hatch. So we don't know actually whether Mission Racing are coming back. They at the moment just taking a break. Whether that's a season-long break, getting a budget together back for next year or not, we don't know. There is a little bit more news, not concerning rider chopping and changing, but Jakob Smertz smashed himself up at the Oschersleben 8 Hour, I believe, and is not racing his Liverpool-based PR Racing Lloyd's BMW. I had to think about the manufacturer. I was going to say Kawasaki, but no, he's out of the BSB weekend. A terrible shame for the Czech. I will get there.
That's easy for you to say. But yeah, do we know if it's just for the one round, presumably so?
I'd imagine it's for the one round, unless the injury is severe, which I'm not sure how severe it is. The round after this isn't until 3 weeks later at Knockhill, and we all know Knockhill is one of the most physical tracks on the calendar. There is no rest there.
I don't know if Knockhill is everybody's favourite.
Controversial article I did last year about
which you won't mention.
I was screamed at by the jocks up there.
Oh God!
Hello and welcome to all of you Glaswegian people.
Moving swiftly on, I'll say
something?
that we're just looking forward to Knock Hill. It's a great place. Welcome to.
Are you
Motorsport
coming up
Radio.
to Knock Hill with us, Lester?
I unfortunately won't be able to make Knock Hill. It's on the other side of the world.
Small technicality of the Fourth Road Bridge to overcome.
But as everybody knows, who isn't lucky enough to visit Knock Hill, it is a long way away, and I suppose that it's the reverse for Scottish bike fans. They have to really think about maybe attending places like Brands Hatch, 3 times a year. All I can say is I wouldn't like to be Pete Extance. Just had the racing at the Northwest. He had enough trouble getting to.
See that got stuck out in where is it? Manchester Airport, Liverpool Airport.
Yeah, apparently he was.
Flybe let him down. Other airlines are definitely available. I suggest that Pete Exton's stances on that one.
I know where you're going with that.
Northwest 200, the team was out there for that with James Hillier, had a great ride. Another great ride from Jimbo Hillier at the Isle of Man. A week off, now back to Snetterton. Then 3 weeks' time up to Knock Hill. Last year it was worse than I caught up with Pete, and he was so tired. He was at Knock Hill. It's a lot of travelling. They've got to come up from Bournemouth, don't forget. So it's basically a drive from Calais.
That's for sure.
but the lorry drivers, it's basically a drive from Calais all the way up to Dunfermline.
Yeah.
That's a long way. I do not admire that one at all.
So I guess it's just left before we end tonight's show, Kiko, for some predictions.
Go on then, Lester. Top 3 in all classes. I'm going to get in first. Go on.
Whoa.
No, don't.
Well, how about some BSB predictions first of all?
Go on then. Shall we just top 3 in superbikes and then race winners in the other classes?
I'd just keep it superbikes, I'd say. Just cause, we don't want to go rambling on too long about everything.
Yes, true. Superbikes. Go on.
Superbikes. Hold on. Let me have a quick look at the current standings, actually. Superbikes. Who's where? Right. So, I don't even... last year... I'm vaguely remembering what happened last year. I might be getting it mixed up with Silverstone, that crazy, chaotic race, I think I was.
Wet race, yes.
Okay. So, to be honest, I can't even remember last year. Alzheimer's.
We hadn't guessed.
Hi. My name is Lester. Hi. So, I'm going to say then for... I don't know about wins, to be honest. I'm not even going to guess.
Just say a top 3 in any order.
In any order, top 3. Haslam.
Okay.
Ray. No particular order.
Okay.
That's Brad Ray.
Yes.
And I'm going to say Luke Mossey. He's this weekend might be a good weekend for him. And I'm
going to go a little bit different. Brad Ray, in no order. Brad Ray, Jason O'Halloran, because he always goes well at Snetterton. And although he's 15th in the championship, as you can see there in order, Peter Hickman. I feel Hickey's on a high. We were on about momentum earlier, and I think Peter may well have that. I know Snetterton is not the TT course, but he had a stunning Northwest last lap lunge on a Thursday evening. Senior TT winner. That's obviously a thrill on its own. So Peter Hickman, I think, is coming into BSB on a right roller coaster here, right high.
I'm going to change one of my predictions, actually.
Oh, go on. Who's it going to be?
I'm going to say, and I'm really sorry, nothing, but against Leon Haslam, and this is probably the one thing that I'm going to be very wrong about. I'm going to swap Haslam and say Glenn Irwin.
Ooh, I tell you, I don't want to swap any of mine, but I think I'm going to do my usual trick.
You can't
and
pick
name
4 for a podium. Come on.
No. But I'm just going to say, otherwise, I think we're going to have mega weekends. Tommy Bridewell and Danny Buchan. I honestly, and they're not best of friends. That's more or less confirmed. But I think they're both going to be. I think they could both spring a surprise.
So you're suggesting that they're going to get a podium?
No. I just think solid top 6. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to go and do British Supersport and Stock 1000 predictions anyway. And I'm going to go have a bit of Ben Curry for a win. I'll have a bit of James Raspoli, and I think Jack Kennedy's going to be there as well. That's, I think, a given. In the stock thousands, so open. I'm going to make a massive lunge here. I'm going to have a bit of a stab. I'm going to say Chrissy Rouse. In no order, this is Chrissy Rouse. Luke Jones from Morello. And I feel like Billy McConnell's going to be there anyway. So, yeah, them three is what I'm saying for stock 1,000. In no order. Of course, if it is that order, though, it turns out in the race, I obviously meant it. Just wasn't brave enough to say it.
Interesting. Okay. And what about Moto 3 then, for you?
Oh, Moto 3. Wow. Top three, Bezecchi, Canet, Martin.
Canet.
Canet.
Well, can it?
Can it?
Be those three? Oh, shut up, Forbes. So they're your top three, are they? In no particular order.
In Moto 2, before we come on to your accuracy, I'm a bit of Baldassari. I think Iron Balder Attack is going to be right up there again. Miguel Oliveira, I feel, has got his form back, and Bagnaia. Don't think Joan Mir could be a challenger this weekend. I think he'll be in top 4 or 5, but I don't think he's going to challenge for a win. Watch him go and win now. MotoGP, I got the Valentino Rossi podium right last time. Got Bovy right. Excuse me. And I choke on fresh air.
Spit it out.
Marquez, Rossi. I don't know. I just do not know. Lorenzo. Go on, I'll have a bit of Jorge. Go on.
Got there in the end, folks.
Thank you.
Right, Moto 3. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what to pick now. I don't know. Right then, I'm going to say as ever, because I'm not even that.
Now stop.
Yeah, to be honest, on Moto 3. It just happens at the wrong time of the day, to be honest. It's a bit like GP3 in the car.
Stop talking about cars.
I'm going to say then old Bastianini.
Okay.
I don't even know who's injured either. I don't even know.
Go on, just crack on with it, you big pansy.
Cornfile, is he still knocking about?
I think he's only just landed, after his Le Mans excursion.
And probably Martin.
Oh, hey, Martin. Okay, Moto 2.
Moto 2, the official predictions from Motorsport Radio. Totally wrong. And don't blame me if these are completely correct. I'd say Alex Marquez.
Oh, won there last year.
Vierge. And Bagnaia.
Oh, very different then. Very, very different.
Indeed. Quite.
Okay,
I'm not going to do what you do and just also list 10 other different riders who I think might also do very well. Just so that you can come back next week and say, well, I did say he'd do very well. He did finish in the top 20.
Hey.
But yeah, MotoGP then.
Fire away.
I'm going to predict Cal Crutchlow.
Whoa. Where did that come from?
I don't even know.
Lad, it's a fun fact here. Sorry, Lester.
Oh, go on then.
Fastest lap, pole position and a win has been achieved, at least one of them has been achieved in Moto 2 or Moto 3, or 250s and 125s, lightweight and intermediate classes, but nothing has ever been achieved by a Brit, pole position, fastest lap or win in the MotoGP.
Interesting. Did not know that.
Fun fact.
Whatever.
Thank you.
Okay. Fair enough. So, yeah. Crutchlow. Marquez. Actually, no. He's not going to be on the podium.
Well, here we go. See, I don't change. Chopping and changing more than a tidy is.
Shut it.
Go on.
So, Crutchlow. I'm going to say Lorenzo.
Copying me now.
Oh, shut up.
Crutchlow, Lorenzo, and
Rossi.
Rossi. Okay.
Yeah. And I watched that be absolutely correct. Boom. But yeah, there you go. That's your top three in no particular order. In next week's show, we'll produce the top 20 for you and just hope one of those is correct. So yeah, and that's it, folks. That is the end of the show. Yeah, you've done well, by the way, to stick with us.
Behind the scenes stuff from BSB this weekend.
Indeed. Check out as well the Twitter at msportsradio as well.
Yes, give us a follow.
Kiko will be thereabouts, potentially. Yeah. And collecting bits of information, bits of news, bits of gossip, other bits of pictures as well. And you're also more than welcome to get involved as well in the ongoing debate that is BSB and the various
corner names as well, which has been a complete failure so far. Live tonight, we've had almost no one tune in, so we won't be doing that. But it's a bit of fun. It's all good and well.
Yeah, I mean, every corner's going to either be named Rossi or various riders.
The Rossi chicane, the Doctors.
Yeah, it's like in car racing. Every other circuit's going to be named something Senna. Yeah. Basically, or Bianchi.
Never going to get the Fernando Alonso chicane, are you?
Maybe in Spain. Well, I don't. Yeah, probably in Catalonia, actually.
Maybe what you could have is so them last two double right-handers. I know Formula. Well, then again, Formula One don't use them two double right-handers, do they?
No, they use
at the end of the lap. Yeah, they use that poxy little thing. I'm just trying to think of a suitable name for an Alonso corner.
There isn't one, to be honest. A corner that everybody whinges at, that might be...
I think that either way, the first corner at the Indy 500, that layout, the banker layout, should be called Alexander Rossi's corner, because off topic, and yes, the Indy 500 was a bit time ago now, but the moves that Alexander Rossi put on there, how many cars did he get past? He must have got past about 5 or 6 cars in that short space of time. Sensational. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Fantastic.
Exactly. Yes. So that really is it for tonight's Superbike show on Motorsport Radio.
We're off to rant and rave about question time.
Yes, anyway.
Outraged. How outraged are you?
Yeah, let us know how outraged you are. Maybe we should come back next week and do a full show about various outrages. And, wow, did you see what happened in BSB? Appalling behaviour. We should get a ban and some such.
Life ban.
People complain about it being clickbait, but it works. Anyway, so thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back. Probably not the same time live next week because we're off.
Well, not live, but we will stream live recorded.
We may be on earlier on in the day, in the afternoon, just because literally we're literally on our way up north to Cumbria, Rowra, for the next round of the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. Excellent. So that'll be where we're at next week, and thank you very much for tuning in.
Au revoir.
Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.